Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. And it's looking a little gloomy out, Wade.
Yeah, it ain't looking like the nice fine Tuesday I had hoped when I woke up this morning, but it could be worse, I suppose. But yeah, it's looking a little grim south of Columbia here this afternoon.
Not great north of Columbia either. Definitely not a top 5 Tuesday, but we're going to do the best we can to make it one here over the next couple of hours. We'll be with you till 4 o'clock this evening, talking local, regional, and national sports. And I think we got a pretty good show loaded up. In the second hour, we will visit, as we do virtually every Tuesday, with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, getting the latest on all things MTSU. In our next segment, we will be joined by Terry McCormick. We typically go to Terry for Tennessee Titans info. We are still going to be talking football with Terry, but it won't be outdoors. So stay tuned for that. Also, we'll have some Braves. We'll have a little more Astros talk than we usually do because Wade's a little happier with his team than he usually is. So
got a dub. They I don't know what's gotten into them. They're starting to win games all of a sudden.
They got a dub, and we kind of spoke something into existence yesterday. We'll get to that in our third segment as well. We'll be talking a little grab bag because there's a lot going on across the sports landscape. And again, it's Top 5 Tuesday. This is nature inspired, I guess. Wade came up with this. We are going to give you our top 5 most annoying sounds / noises. And if you've been here in the area over the last couple of weeks, you get a pretty good idea of what inspired that. So looking forward to that. That should be fun. Wade, where'd you go last night?
Last night was in War Trace as the Cascade champion soccer team defeated the Richland Raiders. We'll get you the score in the rundown, but it was a hard-fought contest and worthy of a region billing because it was back and forth, and it was a one-goal game. That's about all I'll reveal.
Now, that was region semis? Is that right?
Yep, region semifinals. So Richland Falls, their season is over, but Cascade is moving on, and single A soccer is interesting, especially if you've been at the higher levels. But it was a very entertaining game, and like I said, worthy of a region game. And you were slightly south of War Trace, if I recall correctly, right?
I was south of a lot of places. Yeah, I was in Fayetteville, Summit and Lincoln County Region 5 4A softball semifinals, and I'm going to tell you something. You better have some pitching when you get ready for the Lady Falcons because they pounded out 16 hits in it. Well, we'll get to all that in a second. But yeah, you better be solid in the circle when the Lady Falcons come to town. So good stuff there. Yeah, let's just go ahead since we've already kind of broken the seal on it. Let's go ahead and give you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
To the rundown we go. No baseball action yesterday. More on that coming tomorrow, but we can give you some softball results from the small diamond yesterday. And here we go. Cheatham County picked up a 6-3 win versus Waverly. Community upsets Loretto 6-2 as the Vikings knock off the Lady Mustangs. Again, 6-2 was your final there. Creekwood won, McNary Central nothing. Eagleville defeated Cornersville 5-0. Gordonsville also shut out East Robertson. 12-0 was your score there. Greenbrier put up a 16-0 win, I should say, versus Hume Fogg. Green Hill wins 12-0 versus McGavick. Very closely contested matchup between Henry County and Springfield. Henry County wins it 3-2. Huntington defeats Harpeth 11-2 last night. Joe Burns knocked off Clay County 8-3. Mount Juliet was a 16-1 winner versus John Overton. Macon County 11, Lawson 2. It was Lexington 11, Fairview nothing. Liberty Creek a 15-0 win versus Smith County. As Mo mentioned, 15-5 was the final score as Lincoln County defeats Summit last night. Nolensville picks up a 10-4 win versus Coffee County. Huntland stuns Richland. The Lady Hornets scoring 3 runs late. Two of the 3 runs coming off of a home run. And Huntland defeats Richland 3-2 last night in Linville. Dixon County defeated Rossview 4-1. Stewart's Creek picked up a 1-0 win versus Siegel. It was Smyrna 5, Oakland 2. Summertown squeaks by Forest 3-2 was your final there. Westmoreland 4, Watertown 0, and Wayne County defeats Houston County 10-1.
On the pitch, as Wade mentioned, Cascade with that 2-1 victory in Wartrace over Richland. Also, it was Forest 5, Loretto 0 in boys soccer action. Major League Baseball, the Braves got out with a 2-0 victory over the Cubs. We'll talk more about that later in the show. Also, the Astros 9, the Athletics 2. The Athletics good for what ailed Houston, apparently. Today's boys soccer action. At 6 o'clock, Beach is at Hendersonville. Beach is at Antioch. Overton is at Hendersonville at 6. Also at 6, it's STEM Academy at Merrill Hyde, Livingston Academy at Murfreesboro Central. Lebanon goes to Rockvale for a 7 o'clock first touch. Also, Valor Collegiate is at Station Camp at 7, and at 7, Laverne is at Blackman.
Other boys soccer contests, we do not have start times listed for these matchups, though, so buckle up. But we do have these games on the docket. Westminster Academy at BGA. Clarksville Northwest is at Clarksville. Chester County traveling to to Fairview tonight. Huntington will be at Harpeth. Kip of Nashville is at Independence Academy. Davidson Academy traveling to Lakeway Christian. It'll be Creekwood who's at Lexington tonight. Portland is at MLK. Coffee County will visit Ravenwood. Brentwood is at Shelbyville. It'll be Liberty Creek at Smith County. Rossview will travel to West Creek, and Jackson County is at White House Heritage.
At 3 o'clock this afternoon, this game was originally scheduled for 12, but apparently they've had some rain. Trevecca will play in the NCAA Division II Midwest Super Regional at the University of Indianapolis against the Lady Greyhounds. 3 o'clock first pitch now. That is a best-of-3 series. The final 2 games are set for tomorrow up there. We'll talk more about that later. Major League Baseball tonight at 6:20. The Cubs continue their series at Truist Park against the Braves. You can see it on Bally Sports South. Also, the Athletics continue their series at Minute Maid against the host Astros. That's a 7:10 start. The Nashville Sound start a 6-game series at Jacksonville. That first pitch is at 6:05 Central Time tonight. And the WNBA opens its regular season tonight. 4 games on the slate. New York is at Washington. It's a 6 o'clock Central Time tip. You can see it on ESPN2. On ESPN3. That's the web-based arm of ESPN. On ESPN2 at 6:30 is the Connecticut Sun hosting Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Again, that's a 6:30 tip on ESPN2. That game will be followed by Phoenix at the NBA champion Las Vegas Aces at 9 o'clock, also on the Deuce, and at 9 o'clock on ESPN3. You've got Minnesota at Seattle, and that is your rundown. Top story presented, as always, by Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check them out for their delicious daily deli lunch and dinner items, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story today, and it's a pretty big one. Wade, I don't know if you managed to see this on your Twitter feed while you were over in Wartrace, or if you saw anything on your Twitter feed while you were over in Wartrace. But our women's basketball coach, Lisa Bluter, announced her retirement, and there was a meme of, I guess, her realizing who was missing from the roster all of a sudden and kind of hastened her stepping away there. But after 24 seasons at the helm of the Hawkeyes and back-to-back national championship game appearances, Lisa Bluter has stepped down. She will be replaced by longtime Iowa assistant Jan Jensen. You know, if you're going to go out, I'd say going out with one of the best players ever to play the game is probably a good time to do it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, the cell reception was strong enough to at least deliver that news yesterday to War Trace, as that does kind of send shockwaves across women's college basketball as Lisa Bluter steps away. And obviously the memes and the jokes kind of write themselves. Pretty convenient timing. But I mean, she had done a fantastic job with that program after taking over in 2000, a long time. So in that respect, very cool to see her. I'm pulling up her resume here. Crazy to think about. She's a 5-time Big Ten tournament champ. Obviously, most of those coming in the recent years, but she has a huge gap. They won it all in 2001, the Big Ten tournament. And then she had to wait 18 seasons before 2019. And then obviously the Caitlin Clark run. So a long staple at that program and in that community. So her presence undoubtedly will be felt, and she will be sorely missed. One of the all-time winningest coaches and one of the all-time greats who really, obviously myself included in this, kind of really only became somewhat of a household name to me in these last couple of seasons. So I'll be sad to see her go, but probably a well-deserved retirement at age 63.
No doubt. She is the all-time Big Ten coaching wins leader. 528 and 254 at Iowa, 65 and 12 the last 2 years. So obviously she took full advantage of Caitlin Clark's presence for sure. Again, back-to-back national championship game berths. And as you said, Iowa went a long time between, climbs to the top of the Big Ten mountaintop, and Ohio State was up there for a lot of that gap, I guess. But it will bear watching to see what longtime assistant Jensen is able to do. She was an associate head coach under Bluter for 20 years, was with her at Drake as well, played at Drake, and has coached her entire career in Iowa. So, when you, and I guess in a situation like this where you've got somebody retiring arguably at the top of their game as Bluter is, it's a lot easier to just kind of hand this thing off as opposed to, other circumstances where we see coaching changes and maybe there's coaching searches and that kind of thing, but they're just passing the baton from Bluter to Jensen. And, it'll be interesting to see what Iowa looks like without Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to be a big storyline for the sport of women's college basketball. And presumably, obviously, she was the heart and really the everything of that team these last couple of seasons, but she wasn't totally alone. So I'll be curious to see how they kind of roll along. And this is, you made a great point, and you kind of touch on it here when you're talking about the way this transition kind of unfolded. And that's kind of what you always hope happens in many respects when you have a successful program. It doesn't always happen. And sometimes it happens from somebody like Lisa Bluter stepping in and saying, hey, look, I'm getting ready to step away, but I'm only stepping away if you guarantee that you take care of my right-hand man, as it were, in Jan Jensen. So it's good when that can happen that way, because sometimes it always doesn't. But I presume Iowa would still probably be a decent team. I'm not knee-deep in the weeds on their recruiting or anything by any stretch, but presumably they should still have a little bit of talent left over and maybe be pretty competitive, I would imagine, in the Big Ten next year. And that's assuming they don't even have, for all I know, they could have 2 or 3 superstars coming in, and they could maybe pick right back up where they left off and still be a team that maybe makes a little bit of a run in the tournament next year.
Yeah, you'd like to think, when you have the kind of success that they've had for the period of time that they have, and also, it's not like Iowa just, again, came to the party as Caitlin Clark got there. Iowa has been a successful women's basketball program for a long time, going back to see Vivian Stringer back in the mid 90s when she was there. So, I mean, they've been a high level women's basketball program for quite some time, even before Caitlin Clark got there. But, obviously, again, they maximized her presence going 109-30 over her career. But you'd like to think, like you said, that when you have had that kind of success, that you're kind of more reloading than rebuilding. And as you said, I'm not off in the weeds on what Iowa's roster looks like. They had 2 WNBA draftees and Kate Martin in addition to Caitlin Clark. So, you're going to feel that to some degree when you lose 2 pro draft picks like that. But at the same time, you'd like to think that there is some more talent there on that roster. And, they may not be a national championship contender, but other than South Carolina, who is every year?
Yeah. Quick glance and on ESPN's recruiting rankings, and Iowa does have 4 recruits in the top 100 set to come in next year. So the cupboard is not going to potentially be completely barren. Obviously, they'll need some seasoning as they go along. So a chance for Iowa to continue. You made a great point, though, is they're not just this was not just, a 4-year just in many regards it was, but I see where you're going too. It wasn't that they just didn't have this meteoric rise because they had been a pretty successful and pretty stable program. So I would imagine that a lot of that will kind of carry over. And the hope, obviously, is that you ride this momentum and try and take that baseline where it was before Caitlin and now establish a new baseline at a higher mark.
Absolutely. There's our top story. Again, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill. And let's take a break here from the Lee Company studios. When we return on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we will be joined by Terry McCormick talking a little arena football. So stay tuned after the break.
Bluegrass Auction Associates is hosting another real estate auction Saturday, June 8th at 10 a.m. in the beautiful Hickory Woods subdivision. This spacious estate offers numerous amenities, perfect for the homeowner or investor. Conveniently located in Davidson County, Tennessee at 221 Wild Grove Court. This is the sale you don't want to miss. Join Bluegrass and bid with confidence. Saturday, June 8th at 10 a.m.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as we come to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton, and we are now joined by Titan insider Terry McCormick to talk a little indoor football. Terry, good afternoon.
How are you guys?
What's up, Terry?
Doing well, man. Be doing better if you didn't have that dang hat on. But anyway, it's
Hey, you got to wear it now. They're playing well.
I understand. Hey, you have an article on the website TitanInsider.com and other Main Street properties. Arena Football League targeting Jeff Fisher to take over as commissioner. Now, the Arena Football League is 3 games into its season. That's not typically when you hire a commissioner. But
they've also had 4 teams fall by the wayside here in the first 3 weeks. So the thing is taking on water.
To my point, things have not been typical in the Arena Football League to this point. So, Jeff Fisher, not exactly a household name as it relates to arena football. How does he emerge in this?
Well, I think it probably stemmed from the fact that, one, he's a familiar name, a familiar face for his longtime association with the Titans and later coaching the St. Louis Rams. He's been a guy who's, been around football for a long time. And then he also has spent some time in some of these alternative leagues. He coached the Michigan Panthers in the USFL. He had a brief little foray as an advisor in the AAF that the NFL had kind of given its blessing to and wanted to see work as a developmental league. And he also, more recently, became part of the Nashville Cats rebirth. And in doing so, I think they saw a steady hand that may be able to guide this ship, and kind of get it back to sea after it's kind of run aground here.
Yeah, what is the AFL's objective at this point, from what you can understand?
Well, I'll be the first to admit that I don't know a lot about the current incarnation of the Arena Football League. The last time I covered the league was when the original Cats were in town, and Pat Sperduto, who's now the scouting director for the Chiefs, was their head coach. And so it's been a minute. Mm-hmm. But my guess is the league is looking for some sort of survival and some sort of stability. And I believe they feel like that Fisher can help offer that. From what I've been told, there's some couple of different factions in the league. There are haves and have-nots in terms of the money people and the teams that are stable and strong in this league. And it's a matter of trying to figure out how to either get rid of the have-nots, some of them have already been gotten rid of, or to figure out ways to turn those have-nots into haves.
Terry, I'm wondering, obviously, my mind is running a million different directions when I'm thinking that Jeff Fisher could be the commissioner of any league, let alone the Arena Football League. And I guess I'm curious, in your mind, having known and worked with Jeff Fisher so long over these years, what's something that you think, other than obviously the stability and the name recognition, what kind of in the weeds, what's something that you think he would really maybe bring to the fold to kind of help right this ship, I guess?
Well, Jeff's a smart guy. Jeff is a guy that, doesn't do anything without thinking it through and without examining the options. That's, been my dealings with him over the years. He's very measured in how he responds to questions from reporters. He's a guy that certainly was well organized when he was coaching the Titans here, and, was very knowledgeable in all aspects of football. Remember, he was chairman of the competition committee there for a while with the league as well. So I think what the Arena League sees in Jeff Fisher is a guy who has a wealth of football experience, knows the ins and outs of the game. And if this thing is going to succeed, I think they feel like he gives it its best opportunity at this point in time. This
is kind of a loaded question, but how desperate of a move is this from the AFL? And in your mind, was it the only move they kind of have at their disposal to kind of keep this thing somewhat afloat and somewhat intact?
Yeah, and it's still going to be a challenge. Let's be honest here. The Arena Football League that's here now is not quite the same as the Arena Football League that was here 20 years ago, because Nashville is a completely different city. The Titans and Predators were still new, as were the Cats at that time, and the Cats kind of carved out their niche. They kind of carved out a group of fans. It was fun, it was entertaining, it was affordable. The family of four that couldn't afford to spend $200 to go to a Titans game could go and spend $50 or $60 at a Cats game and be entertained, with a decent product that's put out there. And I think that's probably how they're going to have to try and market themselves again, as a decent, affordable option. But the thing of it is, in Nashville now, the way the city has grown up, there are so many options out there that I think it's a higher hurdle to clear this time around. A lot of these franchises would be in like second tier cities, in places like Wichita and others that don't have other professional sports franchises to compete with. So, in my way of thinking, this thing might be better off if it were in Clarksville or Chattanooga or Huntsville, or places that, don't have major professional sports at their fingertips.
It's interesting you say that. Terry McCormick of the TitanInsider.com joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little Nashville Cats. And, as you alluded to, Terry, with the going away, for lack of a better phrase, of the Minnesota Myth, Philadelphia Soul, Iowa Rampage, and Georgia Force, there are currently 12 teams in this iteration of the Arena Football League. They are the Albany Firebirds, who Nashville lost to a couple of weeks ago. Now, the Minnesota Myth is still listed in the standings, but I don't know.
I think they have to list them there just because, they did play some games.
Oh, okay.
So that they are not a myth to those who follow the league.
Yeah. The West Texas Desert Hawks, the Orlando Predators, the Salina Liberty, which Nashville just lost to this past weekend, the Southwest Kansas Storm, the Wichita Regulators, who are scheduled to come to F&M Arena this weekend to face the Cats. And then out west, you've got the Billings Outlaws, the Oregon Black Bears, the Rapid City Marshals, and the Washington Wolfpack. So, like you said, those are not necessarily cities that, resonate nationwide.
Yes.
And
No,
so
you're exactly right.
the Arena Football League has kind of gotten itself into a little bit of a perception issue, I would think, with all of this uncertainty and with where they are in terms of geographic locations. The Firebirds have long been a AFL stronghold, I guess, even though they've had their own issues. The Orlando Predators are a name that's certainly been associated with the AFL for a long time, but some of these other teams are not.
Right. And it's a situation too where I guess you have to figure out, what do you want to be? Do you want to pay homage to, the markets that have served the AFL well in years past, like Orlando and Nashville and Albany, or do you want to be in Billings, Montana, where you're the only game in town and it's much easier to draw a crowd because, NFL and Major League Baseball are not coming to Billings, Montana, but they might come to Nashville or Orlando someday. So, there's things like that you have to consider. If you're the Arena League, you kind of got to figure out what your niche is.
And I guess you've got to figure out how to keep teams on the field as well. Again, the Force had their issues. They were going to be a road-based team all season and eventually just packed it in, as our minor league football expert Chris Yao has advised us. Minnesota hung it up here recently. Philadelphia has had its issues.
I'm assuming that John Bon Jovi is no longer and Ron Jaworski are no longer involved with that incarnation of the Philadelphia Soul.
No, they are not. They are not. And so, whether the commissioner is Jeff Fisher or Pete Rozelle, I mean, it just feels like this is going to kind of be an uphill climb to keep this league together in this iteration. I mean, I think you put it well. It's kind of run aground, and I don't know if you get back out to sea right now. If you can get through the season, I would imagine that's successful for this league at this point.
Yeah, I think getting through the season and getting over weathering this little storm of franchises folding, I mean, if and Maurice, I know Wade's a lot younger than we are, but you and I remember the good old days of the American Basketball Association and the World Hockey Association, where a team might be in Pittsburgh one day and then they might be in San Antonio the next as their new home base. There was a lot of instability in the American Basketball Association, even though there was star talent there like Julius Erving and Dan Issel and Artis Gilmore and George Gervin that later made an impact in the NBA as well.
Yeah. This schedule is through June 30th. So that's basically another 6 weeks. Do you feel like, Terry, do you get the impression that they're going to make it that long?
Well, I guess that's kind of the challenge, and then the other part of it too is, there is the competition of the UFL that's going on at the same time. I think the one good thing that the Arena League has going for it, if they can hold on to it, is the fact that the NFL Network is televising some of their games. So at least they'll be getting some sort of exposure weekly so that, people will at least say, oh, well, let's go, check out the Cats, because the game's going to be on television. But then again, as we've seen, with the XFL and USFL, now the UFL, playing a nationally televised game in front of empty seats isn't always a great look either.
Right, right. Um, Terry McCormick of Titan Insider joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Terry, as long as we've got you, we should probably tap into your knowledge of your primary beat. What's the latest with the Titans?
Well, rookie minicamp was last weekend. They had a lot of guys in 16 undrafted rookies to go along with the 7 draft picks, and then a couple of veteran tryout guys that kind of caught people caught their attention. Shane Ray, former first-round pick of the Broncos, and he actually looked pretty good. Now, granted, he should look good considering he's a veteran going against guys who are coming in here at 21, 22, 23 years old. And then William Jackson, another former first-round pick of the Bengals. Haven't signed either one of those guys yet, but they did sign a tight end in Nick Vanette to go along with Chigakonkwo and Josh Wiley. Adds a little bit to the tight end room. A well-traveled guy who probably isn't going to set any passing records as far as receiving goes, but you got to have a blocking tight end, and he'll fill that bill.
I'm intrigued, Terry, when you mentioned Shane Ray. Shane Ray was a defensive player of the year in the Southeastern Conference his final season at Missouri. Was a unanimous All-American, as I'm reading on his wiki back in 2014, I guess. Came out, was in the 15 draft. So when you say a veteran, I mean, this is a guy who's certainly been out of college for a pretty good while. What is his situation?
Well, he spent 4 years with the Broncos, and then they did not re-sign him. He wound up, I think he wound up going to Canada after COVID. I think may have played for like the Toronto Argonauts or the Hamilton Tiger Cats or somebody like that up there.
It was the
Argos. Did that for a couple of years, and then was on the Buffalo Bills practice squad for a time last year, but apparently not brought up to the active roster at any point or did not appear in any games. So he's a free agent looking around for a job, trying to keep himself in shape. The Titans need another edge rusher. I think the knock on Shane Ray has always been that he's kind of a one-trick pony, that he's a decent pass rusher, but that he's not great at setting the edge, and he never developed his game fully to be well-rounded enough to be a 3-down edge rusher. So, the Titans already have a guy like that in Arden Key. The question is, do they want to add another one in Shane Ray to just bolster the pass rush a little bit and take some of the pressure off of Harold Landry?
As I'm looking at Shane Ray info, and you mentioned that he spent some time with the Broncos. Shane Ray wore number 56 with the Broncos. Al Wilson wore number 56 with the Broncos. What are the Broncos doing?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. I mean, even if Al Wilson's number isn't retired by the Broncos, there's a little bit of a respect factor about how you don't just hand a guy's number off. You wait a while before you do that, for the longest time, even though Frank Wycheck's number was never retired with the Titans, for about 3 years there, nobody was assigned number 89.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of a respect thing, but again, how do you not? I mean, it's Al Wilson, man. Come on, what are y'all doing? I'm getting way off track.
Al Wilson's,
put some respect on Al Wilson's name. Goodness gracious, yeah. Wade, you had a question for?
Well, I just want to know what Terry can tell us about Big Bertha, who's going around the internet as a invention, I guess, maybe the best way to put it, Terry. That we've raved obviously about Bill Callahan coming in and hopefully revamping the Titans offensive line, and hopefully Mark can play a clip. But what can you tell us before we play it here about Big Bertha and this kind of unique invention that's prevalent now at Titans practices?
Yeah, this Big Bertha is not a golf driver. It's a blocking sled, and one of them is named Bertha, and the other one's named Olga, I think it is. That Bill Callahan had a hand in inventing this, at least in the concept of it, and it's made to, I guess, teach the offensive lineman to block with a certain technique using this sled, because the darn thing won't move unless you do your technique exactly right and how you're supposed to move off the ball and block your man and gain your leverage. You see J.C. Latham right there on that thing, and it's certainly different looking than, most of the blocking sleds that you see at your local high school or even college fields. And Bill Callahan has used this, and I think that's just one of the tricks of the trade that he kind of has that has allowed him to get a lot of mileage out of a lot of offensive linemen, including some guys maybe who were lesser heralded, certainly, than J.C. Latham. And we'll see if he can work some of that magic with the likes of Nicholas Petit-Ferrer and Jalen Duncan and Dylan Radens.
Yeah, hey, that's what I'm wondering. We saw Latham struggling with it there at the beginning. He finally kind of figured it out. But I want to see some of these other guys who were lower on the depth chart and see them take a tackle at Bertha, because I just thought that was fascinating, that it's basically shaping technique. You can get by a lot of times with just pure strength and size, but at some point technique does eventually take over, and that's where you win the real battles. And it seems like that's a cool way to kind of drill that point home as an area of emphasis.
Yeah, there were a couple of guys that Callahan was paying particular attention to, in addition to Latham, that a couple of the undrafted guys that got some attaboys from him in terms of how they performed on that sled. One of them was Cole Spencer, the undrafted guard out of Texas Tech. And the other one, I'm going to butcher his name if I don't look it up. So bear with me just for a second while I try to do that. His name is, I think it's Xavier, maybe it's Xavier Garcia or something like that. Let me check that name. He was wearing number 64. I do know that much. And he was getting some pointers and some tips from Bill Callahan, and it seemed to be paying off. I'll tell you his name here in just a moment.
Is that Xavier Newman Johnson?
On the roster here. Let's see. Nope. It's Zavea Gadlin, Gadlin. His first name is X apostrophe capital Zauvea. So we're going to say Zavea Gadlin. But he was a guy that was garnering some attention from Callahan for his work.
Well, anytime you can get a little attention and a little one-on-one, and then an attaboy out of big coach, that's probably a good thing. So something that young guy, whose name I'm not going to attempt, can take with him. But Terry, you mentioned the undrafted free agents and the guys that we're in on a trial basis. Have we seen anything come out of those to this point?
Have not seen anybody that was in on the tryouts get a contract from the Titans as of yet. I would think that if that was going to happen, it probably would happen here pretty soon, because you don't want those guys to get too far away from you before you offer, if there's something there that you see and you like.
There you go. So what's next?
Well, rookies are now with the veterans, and they'll go into that phase of the offseason work. And then our next access will be not this week, but next week. So as they start to get things together, and we get to see, how the pieces of this puzzle fit with Brian Callahan and what he's doing.
Sounds good. Terry McCormick of TitanInsider.com joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by TOA of Columbia. Terry, we appreciate it. And we will be looking to try to keep up with the Jeff Fisher situation as it relates to the AFL and the Cats. And I'm sure you'll have something for us. So,
all right. Do my best.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you
Terry.
soon. When we come back on Main Street Sports Today, talk a little baseball. Stay with us here in the Lee Company studios after the break.
The wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Superspeedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
May 14th, 1988. There we go. Ken Griffey's second double off Jose Oquendo drove in Deion James and Dale Murphy as the Braves won 7-5 in 19 innings at St. Louis. With the loss, Oquendo became the first non-pitcher to earn a mound decision in 20 years since the Yankees' Rocky Colavito picked up a victory in a 1968 relief appearance. Oquendo was effective, striking out 6 in 4 innings of work, but the Braves bullpen threw 15 scoreless innings to close out the contest, with Rick Mailer covering the final 8 for the win. That was this day in Braves history. 19 innings. Oof.
You know, I could make an Astros
No, don't.
Braves joke, but
Don't do
no,
it.
I'll save that for later. But yeah, man,
We
talk
we
about.
we've been getting along so well, Wade.
Yeah, I won't do that to us, but 15 scoreless innings from the bullpen. That's good. No matter if it's 88 or if it's 2028, I feel like that's still going to be
I
pretty
think that'll
dang
play.
sharp.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I I
Mm-hmm.
think that'll play. Braves got a scoreless inning last night out of AJ Minter, and after Sunday night, that was a much desired improvement as the Braves scored twice in the sixth. Zach Short introducing himself to the local crowd with an RBI double and then scoring on an Acuna base hit as Atlanta defeated the visiting Chicago Cubs 2-0 last night, kind of putting that loss to the Mets on Sunday night behind them to some degree. And again, Minter had it was a little dicey, but he got a big double play in the ninth that helped him kind of get out of a first and second no out situation that could have gotten really dicey. So yeah, it was interesting. Chris, David Wilson of the Robertson County Connection and I were on a text string, and we were lamenting the appearance of Mr. Minter in the ninth after Sunday's events. But you know, Snitker's gonna snitker. I mean, I guess he's just trying to show confidence in his guys, as was pointed out to me on Twitter. I guess it was kind of a needs to get back on the horse, that kind of thing. I don't know. I know that Iglesias can't go out there every night. He went out Friday, Saturday. He was down Sunday. I expected to see him back last night, and I think it would have done my heart a lot more good if he had been. But at any rate, Minter got it done. Kudos to him. Braves move forward. They got another one tonight at 6:20. Jamison Talion, 3-0 with a 1.13 ERA, going for the Cubs. Chris Sale, 5-1 with a 2.95, going for the Braves. The Braves will likely be without Austin Riley yet again tonight, but good news, he's got inflammation in his left oblique, which sounds pretty painful, Wade, but it's manageable and it's not like a pool or anything like that. So he's day to day, aren't we all?
Yeah, and Mo, it's very interesting how we mentioned a couple guys by name yesterday, kind of disparagingly, and one of them was AJ Minter.
Mm-hmm.
The other was Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman goes yard twice last night.
Twice.
As Spencer Aaron Getty gets his, we've kind of thrown a little dirt on his young MLB grave on this show over the last couple of weeks, but he gets his first career win. So we always say if you come on this show, good things happen. Obviously, they didn't make a direct appearance, but maybe if you get mentioned on this show, good things happen.
Maybe if we talk about you on this show, good things happen. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, I was seeing tweets, and I think you were as well, either asking or outright saying Alex Bregman is washed. And, you know, maybe he still is, but at least for one night, he drove in 4 runs in a 9-2 Astros victory. So, yeah, maybe he's saying rumors of his demise are greatly exaggerated.
You know, a couple different ways to look at it. Obviously, you're saying, yeah, he's getting ready to turn things right back around, and we're ready to rock and roll, and we'll see what happens with him the rest of the way. The other way to look at it is, you know, there were a lot of folks maybe saying he's already being dangled as a trade piece if this thing got sideways during the season. So now if you're looking at it, maybe you're saying, yeah, okay, we're still going to get rid of the guy, but at least he improved some of his value, perhaps.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
Couple different ways to look at it. As they got a nice win versus Oakland. Never thought I would say those words, but a nice win versus Oakland, and we're actually able to make up a little ground in the standings yesterday. So they can still overtake Oakland with the sweep, and obviously you can't sweep them until you win the first one. So good start last night for Houston. As a couple Briggy bombs got them going.
Briggy bombs. I like it. A third way to look at it is Oakland.
That is realistically, that's the way you need to look at it. More likely scenario than anything.
But given where Houston is right now, beggars can't be choosy, right? So,
yep, gotta take the wins where you can get them, and Houston certainly needs them. They'll run it back at 7:10 tonight, tomorrow and Thursday, and then they have Milwaukee coming in. They're in a big home stretch right now. Got Oakland, Milwaukee, and the Angels coming in.
Okay.
And then they go back out to Oakland. So this is a chance to really kind of maybe make some noise if you can get on a little roll here towards the end of the month of May.
String some wins together.
Mm-hmm.
Loretto's Ryan Weathers goes to the Hill in Detroit tonight. Weathers 2-4 with a 4.54 ERA. The Tigers counter with winless Reese Olson 0-4 with a 2.52 ERA. The Marlins trying to improve on their 11-32 record. So, hopefully Ryan can go out. I think he's had quality starts in each of his last two outings, and I think he's lost them both. So, tough sledding for him through not necessarily any fault of his. So it would be nice if he could go out and put up another strong performance and have something to show for it on a positive side. So the Sounds open their 6-game series at Jacksonville tonight against the Jumbo Shrimp. I love saying that. 6:05 first pitch in that one. We will visit on Friday with Jeff Hem, the radio play-by-play voice of the Sounds. Looking forward to his update and to see if he manages to get out to Sawgrass or get the sticks out at all this week. So we'll be checking in with him on that. Let's go ahead and go to a break here on Main Street Sports Today. When we return to the Lee Company studios, we will be joined by the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, talking a lot of MTSU. Stay tuned after the break.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, starts hour number 2 right now with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, joining us. Mr. Walters, I like
to see Wade Neely with a shirt back on.
Come on, man.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know, but
we got some explaining to do. We don't want to have folks lingering.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead and clean it up then. Clear it up. What's up?
Chip and I are Instagram friends, and we went out for a run Sunday on the Las Vegas Strip, and I assume that's the picture in reference to.
That's what I saw.
I
saw you were in Vegas near the Vegas sign, weren't you?
Yep, and that was a little bit further of a run than I intended, so that's how far down we were. So that kind of puts things into perspective, and that also explains why I needed the shirt off more as a towel than anything, because it was topping 90 degrees for the first time this year. They said out there.
Was it a dry heat?
You know, it's funny. Everybody says that, and I've been there a bunch of times, and I usually go in the summer. And some years it feels like a real dry heat. Some years it feels awful. But at the end of the day, Chip, it's 105 degrees is 105 degrees no matter where you're at.
I know, and I've got a trip in July out there, so I'll be prepared for hotness. Dry, wet, doesn't matter. It's going to be hot.
Chip, do us a favor.
Keep my shirt on,
please.
There we go.
But not everybody can have a tux on, as you've got as one of your pictures on social media from the Raiders Choice Awards from a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, you know, not everybody can be the dapper Blue Raider voice. You know, what I like about our segments with Chip is that he likes to make sure that we're prepared. And so he'll send along some talking points, and I will try to get us through those as best we can. But what he doesn't know is more often than not, we're on about the same page. But keep sending them.
I know you sent me, what was it, last week, where it was kind of uncanny that the bullet points I sent you are almost exactly what you had on your rundown.
Great minds think alike, but at the same time, I'd rather have it twice than none. Let's start with a pretty special event taking place Saturday prior to the second game of y'all series with Dallas Baptist to close the regular season, as the Steve Peterson Champions Plaza will be dedicated. I think the dedication ceremony begins at 11 prior to the 1 o'clock game against DBU. And, you know, Chip, we were there when Coach Stanford was there, and, you know, it was tough to think that anybody could supplant Coach Stanford as the face of Middle Tennessee State baseball. And I don't know that Pete did. I don't know that he tried, but it's certainly a two-person Mount Rushmore as far as that goes.
No, you know, he carved his own path, but he certainly you know, paid great homage to Coach Stanford, and you know, so there is that for sure. And but yeah, that'll be special. There are a lot of former players who have been generous in their support to help make this happen. And so that is scheduled. But one correction: Saturday is supposed to be the game 3. This is the final week of the regular season. They play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pretty much across the board, across the country. So we hope that and also when you're looking at weather, Saturday does not look great. Saturday morning does not look great right now, but that's still 4 or 5 days down the road. And a lot of things could happen between now and then as far as how the weather models look. But
especially around here.
That's correct. With the old saying, if you don't like the weather, hang out 15 minutes and things will change. But yeah, if Coach Peterson, when he worked tirelessly to get the new ballpark built, that was a big focus of his, and got it done. And he was always, one of the things that if you were one of his managers, your number one job on game day was to make sure all those championship flags were flying out in front of Reese Smith Jr. Field. Well, what has basically happened as far as the plaza, it is the area down the third baseline outside the ballpark, down that sidewalk toward gate 4 of the football stadium, that really nice grassy area right there. The all of the championship teams over the past years will have a flagpole, and there is and then at the bottom of the flagpole there will be a marker of some sort that has all of the names of everybody that was on those teams. That so that's where it is, and all in the words Peterson Championship Plaza have gone up on the outside of the ballpark in that area. So that will be again all it's all going to be ready to go, and for folks to see this weekend, and the official dedication of it will be scheduled for 11 o'clock on Saturday morning.
And hopefully by then, Middle will have taken care of its magic number.
Correct, which is 1 going into the weekend to get into, make sure they have a spot in the conference tournament. The 2 wins at Jacksonville State were huge. Sunday, got a great defensive play in the bottom of the 8th inning on a doubleheader. In the bottom of the 8th inning on a double play to cut off a Gamecock uprising, and then got a fairly uneventful bottom of the 9th to get the win 3-2 over Jack State. But what that did, it put them 2 games ahead of Jacksonville State, winning 2 out of 3 over the weekend. But it also gives Middle a tiebreaker in case there was a tie. So now the magic number is 1, which means any combination of either 1 Middle win against Dallas Baptist, who is now in the lead in the conference race, or 1 loss by Jacksonville State this weekend, and Middle is in the tournament. The only way that Middle does not make the conference tournament is if they are swept by DBU and Jack State sweeps Sam Houston. So that's pretty dramatic stuff there, but that's what it's down to here going into the final weekend.
Under those conditions, you kind of like your chances, but you would prefer to take care of your own business.
That's correct. You'd like to go out Thursday, get a win, and have that over with, and get that pressure off of you going through the rest of the weekend. But you basically have 2 chances on Thursday, 2 chances on Friday, and 2 chances on Saturday to make that happen. And like you said, you just as soon go ahead and do that early.
Absolutely. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, as he does virtually every Tuesday. Little track and field action over the weekend.
Was Middle and both men's and women's teams went to El Paso to the conference outdoor meet. Liberty ended up winning both sides. And I was talking to Keith Vroman a couple of weeks ago on our spring sports show and spent about 30 minutes with him talking about the track meet and scoring and how all of that works out. And it's a whole lot more than just going out and winning events, which is great. And Middle ended up having 7 different individuals win individual titles out in El Paso. But what you have a lot of times, the teams that end up winning the titles these days just throw a bunch of runners out there, or what I call point grabbers. And you may have, like in a certain event, let's say Liberty may finish, and I'm thinking about maybe like the 1,500 meter run, something like that. They might finish 2nd, 5th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And so they grab a ton of points and don't even win the event, and they outpoint everybody in that event. And they do that in multiple events. And that's they have, and that comes from, okay, what kind of resources are you putting towards scholarships and things like that? And I think track is kind of an unlimited, there's no cap on what you can do there. So you throw more resources at it, and then that way they're able to do more with that, and they were able to come away with both championships. Again, Middle finished 4th on the men's side, 4th on the women's side, but did have 7 individual champions, which that's a pretty good run right there.
That's not bad. And the Liberty phenomenon that you mentioned, that's kind of their strength in numbers kind of borne out right there, I guess. But Middle, quiet as it's kept as always. Going back to the legendary Dean Hayes, they are always an impact, both indoor and outdoors in track and field. And so 7 different individual event champions. What's next for them? NCAA regionals, I guess.
Yeah, there's several who have qualified for NCAA regionals, and I'm sorry I can't give you exactly who they were, but I'm just looking through. I'm looking through Sam Doughton's notebook here, who kind of did a little wrap up on that. Stephen Alogi had a Conference USA record of a 13.28 time in the 110 meter hurdles. And he also won the 400 meter hurdles. So Carmelo Canizaro, Brian Kiptu, Vincent Yagan were all on the podium in the steeplechase. You have Lakeisha Smith was a winner. Also, kind of warmed my heart. Victoria Rusnikova was the Conference USA champion in the triple jump, which was Dean Hayes. That was his sport. He was literally the number one jump coach and triple jump coach in particular in the world. And that was a sport that he perfected and advanced. And it's kind of nice when you still have that tradition of having great triple jumpers and winning a conference title with one.
Chip, I wanted to ask you about another kind of sometimes slept on sport, but men's golf has had some quality players over the years, but Owen Stamper, I'm reading a release about how well he's been playing, and then I pulled up the live results from today's round, and Owen, who's a senior, has been balling out. He I'm making sure I get this right. Shot a 75 yesterday, which he got better, it looked like, as the day went on. But Chip, he goes out and throws out a dart of 68 today.
Yes,
he's right outside the top 10, and they got round 3 coming up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, he is. Let's see. He is right now he's in a multiple tie for 13th, but that is only 2 strokes out of the top 10. And Stamper, by looking at Golf Stat here, he has the second highest score of an individual that's not with their team right now Vanderbilt has guys up toward the top because their team advanced to the regional, but Owen is there as an individual. And you're right. I mean, to cut 7 shots off your score from yesterday, that's a pretty big deal. And you look at where the players are that are behind him, and they are at just about any school you could think of across the country. A lot of Power Fives and all of that. But Owen has been good all year, and he's got one more round to go, and it'll start at 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, round 3, and hopefully he'll be in a position to move on and get to the nationals for individual golf. That'd be a big accomplishment for him.
That would be huge. And I'm curious, is there a threshold? Does he have to have a top 5 finish, but especially being as an individual? Obviously the team concept kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in there. So I'm curious, what does he need to do potentially to get on to the next round? Do we know that yet?
Trying to think. I know in tennis it's top 16. In golf it's a different number. There's a team number and an individual number, and I can't. I'm not going to put what may pop into my head out there because I don't want to give out bad information. But
we do it all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think if he gets in the top 10, I think he's going to be pretty close. Whether that's good enough or not, he's going to be pretty close to that mark.
But yeah, so it's safe to say though he's in the discussion.
Yes, he is
to make noise, and again teeing off tomorrow morning. It'd be fun to keep tabs on him throughout the day.
I doubt he's going to knock 7 strokes off of his score today, but if he did, we'd have another headline. But obviously he's it looks like from day 1 to day 2 that he got very comfortable with the course. So. So he might go out there and fire another low number tomorrow. Hope he does.
So I'm looking at something regarding the men's golf regionals from Golf Week, USAtoday.com. It says the top 5 teams and the top individual not on one of those teams will advance.
So right now he is in second place for that, because if it is the top individual that is not on a team there, right now he's number 2. The other one ahead of him is Cameron Huss, he's only 3 strokes behind Huss from Wisconsin, who has basically had just the opposite kind of days. Yeah. He shot a 66 yesterday and a 74 today, where Owen shot a 75 yesterday and a 68 today. So he is 3 strokes back, but as the kids like to say, he's trending right now.
Yeah, he is. And hopefully Huss will keep trending
his own way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at his scorecard, and yesterday, talk about peaking late. On the back 9 yesterday, he was 2 under, and then on the back 9 today, he was 3 under. So, and that even throws in a bogey on 16. So, seems like the back 9 is where he's really clicking right now. And so it'll be very fun to see if he can scoot up, especially if that's the qualifier, like Mo kind of mentioned. If all you got to do is eclipse that top individual mark, then you don't necessarily even have to quote unquote go out and win it. You obviously can just finish if somebody else falls back below you, even at that point.
He's right now, he's got to beat one guy.
Yep.
He's got to beat Cameron Huss, and but he also has to look around behind him. There's Hunter Thompson from Michigan is only a stroke behind him. So you've got those 3 guys within 3 or 4 strokes of each other fighting for one spot to move forward. So that'll, tomorrow's a big day for him, obviously.
Absolutely. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, again, as he typically does on Tuesdays. And Chip, Wade and I have decided that we can't have a show without talking portal.
Well, the door has been kicked open since we talked last week but it's kind of a Todd Rundgren kind of week. Hello, it's me again. And with
nicely played.
With like 3 individuals who had either had been here or had put their name in the portal. and decided that they were not going to. They took their name out of the portal. That being Justin Porter, who had put his name in the portal, but never did go anywhere, and has decided to take his name out, and felt like that this was the place he needed to be after going out there and checking around and seeing. Also on the mid inside, Christian Fussell, who a year ago left and went to UT Martin for a year, and now comes back to fill that final spot on Nick McDevitt's roster, where they were looking for another post player to be kind of the insurance policy with Isam Mustafa and Chris Loof being basically your 5A and 5B player, and Fussell, who 2 years ago when 3 years ago when DeAndre Dishman was hurt, he played in 37 games. So he's gotten a lot of experience. From an opinion, is Christian going to go out and win you a game? I can't say he's going to do that, but he's not going to go out and lose you one either, because he is a solid guy who can get you some rebounds in that position. Is he going to be a big scoring force? That's never been his forte, but glad he's back. And again, that wrapped up. He and Porter were the two that finished off the men's roster. Now Porter, it will be interesting to see the role he plays if you have a healthy Cam Weston, and you got the young man from IUPUI who is also a point guard. It allows Porter to go back to the role that he had a little before Weston got hurt, and that's being a two guard and looking. And this should actually get him better looks at the basket. Right. And there's some depth there too. So at the other spot. So I think Coach McDevitt has got the roster put together the way he likes to have it. As far as where his ones are, as far as numbers, and with his point guards, and then have a certain number of players in the 2, 3, 4 positions that are somewhat interchangeable. And then he's got 3 post players now. So that's kind of where he wanted to be. And as it's wound up, that's kind of where it's turned out to be.
As I look at Christian Fussell's bio from MTSU prior to his transfer to UT Martin, 6'10", 220, kind of plays in this league. I mean, it looks like he's kind of a bouncy 5. If he can, if he doesn't get banged around down there at 220, but it sounds like he can kind of be a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a change up to Loof and to Mustafa at that spot.
Could be, and he likes to. He doesn't mind stepping out and taking a shot outside, which that we've seen that be effective as well. So and I've got to get my full list of all the new guys and learn, start getting names. I think because there's 7 new guys between guys who went in the portal and graduations and all of that. So you got 7 new faces with some key returnees coming back. I mean, you think about Justin Buford. His role may change, and this is a guy who's played a ton of basketball, and so it's going to be interesting to see how minutes are earned and divvied out, and what it will. The bottom line, one thing it gets the men's team back to is to have the quality depth that they thought they were going to have going into last year before the injuries hit, and because they like to press, they like to get out and run. And when all of that happened, it basically took that card out of their hand, and they went from being one of the faster teams in college basketball to one of the more deliberate teams in college basketball because of the way that all happened. So I think they're looking forward to June and getting those guys in here and start to work with them.
Yeah. Wade and I talked yesterday, Chip, um, about the dynamic of somebody either going into the portal or coming out, or going into the portal, leaving and coming back. You see it here, as we mentioned, with Christian Fussell coming back to MTSU from UTM. Yesterday, when Wade and I were discussing it, it was in reference to Courtney Blakely, who, after spending a year at Arizona, is coming back to the Glass House for her final year of eligibility, having played 2 years for the Lady Raiders before. It's interesting, and I guess it's really kind of refreshing that both Coach McDevitt and Coach Insel would entertain that idea, because clearly a lot of folks would say, you broke your plate here, good luck. But I'm intrigued
I know
by
exactly
that.
what you're talking about. It is, and there is that philosophy. You put your name in, we're done.
Good luck.
But I think I think that we're seeing a lot of coaches across the country that harbored that old school thought about it, which, I mean, I know exactly how they feel, that this day and age, the dynamics have changed, and it's just it's a different world, and it takes some getting used to, that's for sure. But it's kind of like,
I think we know a football coach who might not have necessarily gotten used to this.
right? I know exactly, and it is a different world, but Blakely, if they ever needed an experienced point guard, boy, her timing is perfect. When Savannah Wheeler has graduated and used up her eligibility, so she comes at a perfect time to get back. She knows what she's getting into, and knows all of the great things that have happened with the program, and the thing that you hear is that she never cut her ties with her friends who were within the program, which I was glad to hear that, and so a lot of those, she'll be able to come right in and kind of pick things up right where she left them a year ago, and and the thing is, her move to Arizona, did everything work out the way she thought? Or obviously not, or she wouldn't be coming back. But it all, I had a friend tell me one time, even when things don't work out, they work out. And this is kind of that situation where things didn't work out for her at Arizona, but they're going to work out for her coming back in, and in a position and on a team that she knows, and where she has been welcomed back, by the fan base, everything I've seen, with open arms. And so I think that, I've heard the phrase missing piece a bunch over the last couple of days, and that she fills that void.
I am, as a Lady Raider fan, interested in seeing Courtney Blakely and Tamia Scott on the floor at the same time.
You got that's a pretty athletic backcourt right there, isn't it?
And you talk about two folks being able to get to the rim and get their own shot and that kind of thing. That's going to be fun to watch, I think.
And I think the synergy between those two, and the work they put in the summer, because they could be a special combo in how they learn each other's, how each other moves, and to kind of get that unspoken language between them, because they could really make some highlight type plays.
Absolutely. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. The pride of the dimple coming to you from the Lee Company Studios here. Chip,
I'll be down in Murray, by the way, in a couple of days. Got a nephew graduating down in Cully, so I'll come to graduation. And
okay.
I do want to say, since we last talked, that obviously everything that happened weather-wise last week. Obviously, we've had tornadoes here in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and it's a gut-wrenching type of thing, especially wherever it is, and it's people are involved. And I know my high school class, we have a Facebook page, and when anything like this kind of happens, immediately we were checking the Facebook page, and who's okay, who are we looking for, and all of that. And there was one couple in particular that we had not heard from for several hours that lived out in that path out in between Bear Creek Pike and Spring Hill. And finally we heard from them that they were okay. They had suffered some damage, but the fortunate part for all of those who surround me, both friends and family, is that there were some that suffered some property damage, but those things can all be replaced and fixed. And but the lives were spared. And I know that we did have one death and some injuries, but for the most part, for as violent as it was, came out okay.
Absolutely. Chip, one last thing before we go. Next week, next Tuesday, you will not be joining us because we will not be here, but your voice will be heard via Spring Fling HQ. Tell us more about that.
Spring Fling HQ, I'm trying to think if this is like the 5th or 6th year we've done this, something like that. It is basically a continuous sports center type program, audio that is from Spring Fling. We've kind of tinkered with the format just a little bit, and
yeah, you were getting ready to meet with Bradley Lambert of the TSSAA when we spoke last week. So what brainstorming did y'all come out of that with?
We went and found some outstanding barbecue the other night, and talked about this. And but we have 3 different dedicated people that will be, one at baseball, one in softball, one in soccer, that will I'll be the main anchor of the coverage each day. Tuesday will be from 4 until 8 o'clock, Wednesday noon to 6, and Thursday noon to 4. So a little bit different hours this year. And each one of those 3 people will have dedicated segments where they will do some hyper focusing on baseball, softball, soccer. And then we have another segment where I'll be bringing back all the other sports. That's where we'll catch track. That's where we'll catch tennis, and those things. So if you are around wherever you may be, obviously you guys will be over there covering your local teams, but we'll have our audio up also on TSSAA-sports.com. We'll be going again for 4 hours on Tuesday, 6 hours on Wednesday, and another 4 hours. Possibly we could extend our coverage depending on how things fall within softball and baseball in particular. On Thursday, we might add an hour there, but that's all coming up, and that's how we'll go about it. We'll have some interviews with different media folks. You all have been kind enough to join us in the past, and it's always good. We've got folks from East Tennessee, West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee to step in who cover prep sports in those areas, to come in and kind of give us a better feel from the ground level that they work with those schools instead of our 50,000-foot view from our headquarters at Sportscom.
Sounds good. We look forward to it. Look forward to our listeners having access to that. You said again 4 to 8 on Tuesday, so that will miss our window on Tuesday, but 12 to 6 on Wednesday.
Correct, and 12 to at least 4 o'clock on Thursday.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So be sure and listen out for Spring Fling HQ. We'll be bringing it to you right here, particularly on Wednesday and Thursday. So Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us, and we appreciate it. And we will catch up with you next week in the borough.
All right. Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Chip.
When we come back and continue Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, it's the grab bag, and it's a big bag. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
Welcome to Nashville Super Speedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Super Speedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Welcome back to Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by Wade Neely as we come to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. We will wrap up the show with Top 5 Tuesday as we give you our top 5 most annoying sounds. I don't hear any cicadas right now, Wade. So that's probably a good sign, but it's probably also attributable to the overcast conditions that we're dealing with right now. But right now, let's get in the grab bag. Let's start over on Rocky Top, where Kim Caldwell continues to reconfigure the Lady Vols roster prior to her first season. Picked up a transfer from Clemson yesterday, guard Ruby Whitehorn, who averaged 12-plus points for Mount Juliet native Amanda Butler and the Tigers last year, starting 29 games as a sophomore. So that's UT's fourth transfer, three of whom come from the ACC, actually. Alyssa Latham from Syracuse, Z Spearman from Miami, and last week we talked about Arkansas guard Samara Spencer, who will be joining the program as well. So, again, Kim Caldwell wasted no time reconfiguring that roster.
Yeah, you got to rebuild on the fly sometimes, and Tennessee certainly got some talent, but to kind of get things where Coach Caldwell wants them, seems like at least at this point, so early into the tenure, working the portal and working it to our advantage. And not just, grabbing slappies, as you might say. You're talking about rattling off some pretty impressive accomplishments and chops with some of these pickups here too.
Absolutely. Whitehorn started 62 games her first 2 years at Clemson, was an all ACC freshman. Again, averaged 12.3 points, 5.6 rebounds this past season. So nice get, you would think, for Caldwell and the Lady Vols. Interesting situation, Wade, at Wisconsin Green Bay. Sundance Wicks took their men's basketball coaching job a year ago, stepped down Monday, moving on to Wyoming. It appears Wicks' replacement with the Phoenix of the Horizon League will be none other than Doug Gottlieb.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Matt Norlander of CBS Sports is reporting that former Oklahoma State point guard and current national sports talk show host Doug Gottlieb has been named to that position. And apparently interviewed for it last year before Wicks was hired. So apparently this is something that he has been contemplating for some time. And the best thing about it for Gottlieb is that he's going to get to continue his nationally syndicated daily radio show for Fox Sports Radio.
Wow. Now that is the kicker of all this. It obviously kind of makes you wonder, how committed to the gig are you really? If that was kind of one of you felt compelled enough to put that in your contract, that just sets off a little alarm bells to me.
It's really interesting. I'm not sure how you do that. I don't know when he's on because I don't listen to him, but I just don't know the logistics of hosting. I know how much time we put into this one, and we're not national, but I don't know what the logistics are of hosting a 2-hour radio show and coaching a Division I men's college basketball team. But UWGB athletics director Josh Moon doesn't seem to be bothered by it. What he's doing now is a 2-hour radio show. Balancing that is no different than what other folks have dabbled in this area. This is different. I'm not saying it's the same, but the commitment for that in terms of how many hours in the day, Doug can balance that with where he's at in his career. His challenge is going to be, how do you balance the takes, the opinions, and the things that drive that process? That's what he's going to have to figure out. I tell you, man, basketball coach and sports talk show host. There's a lot. There just seems to me a lot of opportunities for that to go off the rail.
Yeah,
and,
that was
and,
my.
and I'll just tell you, I'm kind of here for it because I'm not a huge Doug Gottlieb fan anyway. So,
Yeah, and I mean that's his whole shtick, right? I mean he's pretty opinionated on a variety of topics, some of which are not even sports related. So this could get potentially dicey. It'll be very interesting to see once college basketball season rolls around. Number one, how many shows he's actually doing, and then beyond that, what kind of topics he's broaching at that point. Is he getting in the minutia of college basketball? And one thing that jumped out to me, you mentioned Josh Moon and Sundance Wicks, who's a kind of a friend of the show in a roundabout way. He's a really good dude and really good friends with our buddy Will Martin, who's the coach at Missouri Western. And so we've kind of kept tabs on Sundance. Sundance is a character and a half. I will put it to you that way. And
that's what I hear.
Doug Gottlieb is certainly got a personality. So I don't know a ton about Josh Moon or the administration at UW Green Bay, but if that's kind of your thing, is we're okay. The other interesting thing is that Wisconsin Green Bay actually had a pretty good season this past year. So I was kind of shocked to see that Sonny would leave for that gig, but it's not as if Gottlieb is coming into this super downtrodden program. They actually have had some decent success in the last couple of years. So maybe Josh Moon's strategy is, more Jackie Moon style. Maybe just go out and get a crazy kind of hire. No press is bad, or was it bad press is better than no press at all, I suppose, type situation, maybe.
I just feel like there's going to come a point where Josh Moon is going to have to ask himself, what have I gotten myself into? So I'm intrigued by the basketball coach, sports talk show host. And like you said, Gottlieb isn't a shrinking flower. I mean, he is opinionated. He's out there. He's edgy at times, again, from what I understand. I mean, I see some of his stuff on social media channels, that kind of thing. I don't listen to him, but some of the stuff that he's said that's been repeated, I don't know if it's something that I, as an athletics director, would have wanted connected with my program. But
well, and the other thing to keep tabs on all this is his first ever coaching job.
Ever.
Not as if he was this long-term assistant and then got into radio. I mean, this is his first ever gig right here.
Now, he has coached AAU, and I'm sure he's got some contacts and that kind of thing. But as far as having coached in a Division I program or in a college program, this is his first gig. So we'll, of course, again, bear watching. Apparently, the Southeastern Conference men's basketball schedule has been released, or at least opponents have been released. Dates have yet to be announced. Each SEC team will play the other 15 teams at least once. They will play 3 of those 15 teams a second time in a home-and-home series. 2 of those 3 teams will be played twice each season, with the other team changing every year. Kentucky will play Alabama, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt twice. Arkansas will play LSU, Missouri, and Texas twice, which means Kentucky and Arkansas will play once, and apparently that game will be in Lexington this upcoming season. So John Calipari will return to Rupp Arena wearing red, I'm sure.
Oh, that suit's going to be as red as can be.
Dates haven't been set. I'm sure the Big Blue Mist will be looking daily to see when that date is set and getting ready for that one. So,
yeah, that'll be you would assume tickets for that's going to be few and far between. Everybody within driving distance going to be trying to hit that one up.
Yeah, and probably even farther out than that.
Mm-hmm.
One last grab bag item before we transition to Top 5 Tuesday. Two. We mentioned Trevecca softball, or maybe we didn't, but the Lady Trojans won their Midwest 2 regional over the weekend. They are now playing in a super regional up at the University of Indianapolis. It's a best of 3 series, and apparently it's tied scoreless through 1 inning up there. So the Lady Trojans playing Indy, game 1 of a best of 3. Games 2 and 3, parentheses if necessary, will be played tomorrow. So we will try to keep y'all posted on that as best we can. And ultra quick golf shout out.
Hey, Mo, I just got to give a quick shout out. Won't be able to be with you guys tomorrow as we're heading out to McKenzie for the Richland sectional game. But I was checking this out. The PGA Championship is going to be held later this week, and they've announced tee times for this week's tournament. And our buddy and local boy Lee Hodges is back after a not so great Masters. And Lee Hodges, folks, is paired with none other than John Daly, the 1991 PGA champion. It's basically the one event he plays every year, and Lee Hodges is going to play with John Daly for 2 days. So I can't imagine the stories.
He won't have. He will not have a single story to come out of that. Not a one.
So best of luck to Lee, but I wanted to sneak that in before I headed out tomorrow.
Well, I appreciate you sneaking that in, and we will be visiting in the second hour of Thursday's show with PGA golf pro Virgil Herring. We're going to talk a little bit about the PGA Championship this weekend. We're also going to talk to him a little bit more about Blades Brown, the Brentwood Academy sophomore who burst onto the professional scene this past weekend over at Myrtle Beach. So, be sure and check that out around 3:20 on Thursday afternoon as we visit with Virgil Herring, and we'll have to ask him about Lee as well and John Daly. So that should be fun. Are you back? You'll be back Thursday, right?
Good Lord willing. It's a best of 3 series, and the old rule: whoever wins the first game, no offense to either team, better win the second game.
There we go.
Absolutely.
There we go. Nothing personal, strictly business. Yeah. It is time for Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Whatever shape it is you're in, Thalas Steel will get you in a better one. Be sure and find him at steelathletes.com. That's STEEL athletes.com. Thalas Steel, Mid-South 5 Fitness. Today's top 5, Wade and I will give you our most annoying, most obnoxious sounds. And I will preface this by
there we go.
Nicely done. Nicely done. I will preface this by saying that all of these aren't necessarily annoying to me, but the feedback that I've gotten, they're annoying to a large majority of folks. Now, I'll let you know which ones are which as we go. But Wade, go ahead with your number 1. Now, let me ask you before we go, are cicadas the gold standard, or are they on your list?
Yeah, cicadas got to be. And in a weird way, I find them semi-soothing at times.
I don't have a problem with them, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of, I kind of chuckle when I hear folks go on about how bothersome they are. They don't bother me.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Maybe because we spend so much time outside this time of year, Wade, we just kind of get inured to it.
Yeah, they are definitely here for at least a little while longer. Number 1 on my list. This is a shout out just to producer Mark. But I mean, Jim Carrey in the movie Dumb and Dumber says literally, "Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?" And then he gives you the and so there's no need to bring up sound effects for all these, I don't think, by any stretch. But if you know what I'm talking about, producer Mark, I'm sure will love that one. So I wanted to give him some props and give me Jim Carrey with Dumb and Dumber kind of as my first choice there.
IYKYK, huh? If you know, you know. My number 1 with a bullet, and I'm kind of showing my age a little bit here, probably because I'm not sure how many chalkboards there still are, but nails on a chalkboard are far and away the most annoying sound there is to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my thing is you have to almost actively do that though. So if you're doing the nails on the chalkboard, it's annoying. So that makes it even more frustrating at
That makes it obnoxious because you're trying to do it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 2, Wade.
Luckily, this did not happen to me, but it has happened in the years past. How about babies crying? I love, no disrespect to mamas and daddies, but babies crying in places, whether it's a movie theater, whether it's on an airplane, church, or any sort of, intimate gathering. When you got babies crying, again, I know it's part of it, and I don't mean any disrespect, but man, the babies crying will kill a mood in a heartbeat.
Parents, direct that was Wade Neely.
Give me the smoke, I guess, because I don't
like it. All of it. Yeah. I will tell you, I have been in indoor facilities that ran blowers, cleaning up the seating areas, following events, and
that is annoying.
That's annoying. Yeah. That's my number 2. Number 3.
Number 3, picture this, Mo. You're at a nice hotel. You've had a long traveling day. You're in downtown Nashville or wherever. You're just ready to get some sleep, and you wake up the next morning only to find out there's construction going on, either in the hotel or at the building right beside you. And construction, especially when you're staying at a place, construction noises always really get on my nerves. I find them extremely annoying.
Wade, we've been in situations, again, at various events, that kind of thing, where folks are struggling with their sound system, and you get that microphone feedback screech at the most inopportune moment. Yeah. Microphone feedback, speaker feedback. Yeah. It's awful.
Shout out to Chris Yao, because we had some of that going on at the Main Street Awards last week, and luckily he rectified this situation. Otherwise, it was going to make for a really long and annoying award show, but he fixed it. So props to Yao.
Number 4.
Next up on my list, what about a knife or a fork on a plate? If somebody's cutting something and you cut too deep, I've got some family members, when we get together for Thanksgiving, it's almost like they do it on purpose. And I'm just like, hey, come on with that. The screeching sound of a knife or a fork on a plate is, it gives me shivers almost.
It goes from annoying to obnoxious at that point. My number 4 is, your smoke alarm in your house when the battery's getting ready to go and it just beeps incessantly. That noise. That's annoying.
That happened to me not too long ago, and I got up. It was 10 o'clock at night, and I got up and changed the battery on the spot because I was not about to deal with that.
And it's always at night.
No, yeah.
Typically late. Yeah. Your 5th and final pick?
Fifth
Wade?
and final, there are a few individuals that I probably could shout out, but I guess I better not. I don't know if I necessarily want that amount of smoke, but a car alarm. Very helpful when you're doing it once or twice to try and locate your car. But when your car alarm or a car alarm is going off in a parking lot, or you're at a ball game, or you're doing something and it just continues, I hate that.
Absolutely. You have cats. I have cats. There is no sound worse than when your cats are throwing up, and partly because that they're doing something that you're going to have to clean up. But yeah. That's my number 5. That's our top 5 most annoying sounds, brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Be sure and check out Stella Steel at steelathletes.com, STEEL athletes.com. Tomorrow, we will be joined by Heather Williams talking a little NASCAR, and by Willie Ramirez talking a little WNBA. Join us at 2 o'clock right here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. We'll see y'all tomorrow.